Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. Look here. Mario is pissed off because he believes that Gail has influenced Gigi into turning against him. And he's angry. And he wants to do something to pull Gigi back to him. But see, here's the problem with that. When you have a situation like this where the child, somebody that you've been able to influence, helping raise them and all these other types of things, even though you've made some mistakes like Mario has, it's hard when you see that the child is starting to wake up to your nonsense and your bull crap, right? It's like being in a relationship with somebody. You're in a relationship with somebody and they recognize you for who you really, really are after years and years of you being able to manipulate them into believing that you're somebody else. When they see who you really are, it's almost nothing that you can say to get them back. They see you as the fraud that you are, the liar that you are, the manipulator, the deceiver that you are. And that is what Gigi is starting to see Mario as. He's lied and manipulated and put this wall up between her and her mother. And now he's trying to put a wall up between her and her boyfriend. That's what she thinks. She's not understanding that from where Mario's sitting, he was actually trying to help her. But see, that's the problem with this gang lifestyle. The things that we learn that we believe is helping somebody actually hurts them. See, it's a whole twisted way of thinking when you're talking about the gang lifestyle. And it's best to not mix. See, a gang lifestyle is a business lifestyle. Don't mix business and pleasure. First of all, I recommend that you don't even get involved in that lifestyle. It's not, I'm telling you, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's going to do things to you that you would never believe could happen. And if somebody told you beforehand what was going to happen to you if you joined the gang, most of the time, most people wouldn't believe it because it's something that is corrupting and corroding about your soul when it happens to you. But it's so subtle. And then in some ways, it makes you feel like it's fun. But it's not. You're getting turned all the way out to the game, and then one day you're going to throw up. And when you throw up, that's when the reality is going to set in. And right now, you know, Gigi, she's throwing up. She sees all the sickness in it, all the nonsense in it, because something that she's attached to, this boy, is making her see it. Who knows what's going to happen with her and this little boy in the future? It's irrelevant. Her heart is hurting because the lifestyle that she chose, because Mario made her believe that it was good, is hindering her from being able to be happy. That's what she thinks. You know how kids do. Think their world is coming to an end when something like this happens. And it's making her see something, though, and that's a good thing. It's making her see this person as the person that he is. All right? But it makes him see Gail as an interference. Somebody that needs to be dealt with. Somebody that needs to be dealt with and needs to be dealt with quickly, or he's going to lose Gigi. So he decides to pay her a visit. And when he goes to see Gail, he's angry. But see, Gail is so upset with what has happened to her daughter. And she's angry that he put hands on her. Don't forget that. He put hands on her. Something that he had never done. So now, this time, when he comes over, she's got weapons hid all through the house. Anywhere where she would sit or stand when she's talking to him, she's got a knife put up. She's going to make sure that she can defend herself. She don't want no smoke, but she ain't going to run no more. She's not going to let nobody put hands on her and nothing happens. She just ain't going to do it. Not even him. Not even him. And if she has to be the one to call the police, she will. She's fighting for her daughter. So Mario gets to the house and he talks to her and he's telling her that, you know, the things that have happened is her fault. See, that's what we do. We flip it back. And she tells him, I know it's not my fault, but you messed up this time. You interfered with young love. See, and you know how young people are, they get stupid. And they don't want nobody interfering with the decision they made about somebody that they care about. Especially a boy if you're a girl, and a girl if you're a boy. You understand what I'm saying? They don't want nobody getting in there. They don't think as a parent or an adult that you understand. And this time, she told him, it's on you. So he's getting upset, and by him, you know, putting hands on her before, she sees the sign, he's tensing up, his jaws get tense, his hand is balling up and all this, and he's walking towards her. She said, no, Not no more. Not no more. She reaches under the counter. She pulls out a butcher knife. That thing long too. Shiny. Stainless steel. Stainless steel. And guess what? He pulls out a pistol. Now you all know the old adage, you never take a knife to a gunfight. So she got afraid. Spooked as soon as she saw the gun, and she dropped the knife. And he laughed. He said, "No, pick it up. Pick it up." And when she bent down to pick up that knife, she heard the glass break that was behind him. Somebody had shot through her window and it hit him in his back. He fell flat like a sack of potatoes. And he was laying there on the floor looking at her. She was still crouched over because once that glass broke, she dropped all the way to the ground. And he was just staring at her. And he was mumbling something, and she could see the blood coming from in the hip area, you know? She sees the blood. It's just spreading out like a pool. And she could hear the car tires just screeching like they were speeding off. They're gone. They're gone. And he's just laying there. She freezes for a second, and she crawls over towards him. And he keeps saying, "I'm hit, I'm hit." And she's looking at him, and she sees the blood, and she's feeling on it, and she's trying to roll him over. And when she rolls him over, he's just looking at her. And he said, "I can't feel my legs." She said, "You can't feel your legs?" He said, "No, I can't feel my legs." So she hits him on his leg, and he doesn't feel it. And she said, "I got to call 911. She gets up, she runs to the phone, she calls 911. They hurry up and get there. They hurry up and get there. The police come, she tells them what happened. And they get there and they take him off to the hospital. Now, Gigi, she hears about what's happening, so she hurries up and gets back home. She was overseeing her little boyfriend. And when she gets back to the house, her mom is telling her what happened. From A to Z, how Mario came over and confronted her. And then he pulled a gun on her when she pulled out a knife. And then all of a sudden, somebody shot through the window and hit him in his back, and he fell down, and now he's at the hospital. She said, "Are you going to the hospital?" She said, "No, I'm not going. I'm not going there because all of his friends are going to be there. I don't want to be a part of any of that." And she asked her, she said, "Do you mind if I go?" She said, "I don't want you to. But if you feel that you need to, go. But I don't want you to go." So she said, "Ma, I want to go." So she said, "Okay, I'm going to take you." So she takes her and she drops her off at the hospital. She doesn't go in. Gail doesn't go in. Gigi goes on the inside and she tells him, you know what I'm saying, that she's his daughter and all this and that. And they hurry up and they get her to the room and he's laying in the bed. He's got tubes in him and all this and that. And he's conscious. And he's just staring at her. And she said, "What did they say?" And he's got all of his gang friends around him, and male and female, and a couple of the women that he's been messing with and all this and that. The room is packed. And they're whispering and they're talking, and then he finally whispers enough to tell them to shut up. Shut up. And he tells us, he says, "I'm paralyzed. They say that I'm paralyzed, but I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be all right." And then he takes a deep breath and they have to put the mask back on him so he can breathe. And then he takes it off after taking a couple of deep breaths. And he said that, "I'm going to need you." Think about that. He's laying in the bed, just been shot in his back. And he tells Gigi that he's going to need her. And she leans forward as a teenager would do. Don't forget, he helped raise her. He helped raise her now. And she said, "I'm here." And he felt okay by her saying that. He felt reassured by that. Because he thought, okay, I got her back. I got her back. And so he's released from the hospital months later. Months later. And he takes him, you know what I'm saying, and Gigi convinces Gail to let him come to the house. And he's at the house and his gang friends are coming by here and there, but she tells him, I don't want them here. And he has to accept that because it's really, you know what I'm saying, nothing that he could do now. He's in a chair. And he knows that he's vulnerable. And she's not playing with him. And she's taking care of him, returning the favor, because when she got shot, he took care of her, even though it was his fault. But she's taking care of him. She's taking care of him. And Gigi, you know what I'm saying, her little boyfriend is coming by and all this and that, and they see him in the chair and they're talking to him and all this and that, and he's feeling uncomfortable. He's feeling uncomfortable. He knows that people don't see him the same way. He knows that in the lifestyle that he chose, if he doesn't find a way to reassert himself, that the game is going to pass him by. What kind of gang member, listen to me y'all, and this ain't trying to be mean to nobody, right? But the gang lifestyle is an active lifestyle. You got to be able to get around. You got to be able to get around. And if you can't get around, what's the other way that you control an organization, right? The man that controls, or the person rather, that controls the purse strings, the money, controls the game, right? It's just like when you find somebody in the penitentiary that got that bag. If they got that bag, guess what? They got that hype. People gonna listen to them. So Mario, he has all the connections. He put this thing together to where he took the gang that he joined to another level. So the respect is there. But now he has to solidify his control over it from this chair. So he starts to reach out to all the people that he has plugs with on whether it be drugs, stolen cars, prostitution, all of these types of things that they make money from. He's reaching out to all of them, making sure that they understand everything still goes through him. And out of loyalty for all the money that he's made for them, they give him that. The lifestyle is about who gonna make sure I'm eating. They don't care nothing about him being in a chair. If he can make that continue to work, then they'll continue to go through him. But the second he shows that he can't do it, game over. Game over. They don't give nothing about that. Nothing. So later that night, he's talking to Gigi. And he tells Gigi, he reminds her rather, he says, you remember when I told you at the hospital that I was going to need you? She was like, yeah. He said, well, I need you. And she said, in what way? I said, well, I need somebody to help me run things. I can't get around like I used to, but I need somebody like you, somebody that I can trust to help me run things. And she said, what do you need me to do? She's not really understanding like how much this is going to take from her. She's a junior getting ready to be a senior in high school. You know what I'm saying? She's got a boyfriend. She has a teenage life that is fully active. She hasn't been participating in the gang lifestyle like a quote unquote, let me be cautious when I say this, a normal gang member would be. She hadn't been in that like that. She was fortunate enough that her quote unquote stepfather, or the man that helped raise her, happened to be in charge. So by her becoming a part of it, she didn't have to put in work like everybody else. She has the notoriety, she has the all the stuff that comes, all the trappings that come along with that lifestyle, but she didn't earn anything. She hasn't earned anything. And now, because of that, because of her anonymity, she fits a role that Mario really can exploit. She can make runs for him and do things for him that will allow him to control what's going on with the organization without having to go through any of the other members that he felt would be a threat to him, male or female. The other members that might want to say, well, I can do this better than him. I just need to know who to talk to. See what I'm saying? See, Gigi is 15 years old on her way to becoming a senior, and she don't have those ambitions of being in charge of the game. She don't have those ambitions, so she's no threat to Mario. No threat at all. But see, he has to make sure that she understands that what he needs her to do has to remain private between him and her. It's a secret. Now see, she's not that 12-year-old girl anymore. She's not. She's not that 12-year-old girl that, yeah, I want to be a part of it. I won't tell my mama. She's not like that because her mom's and her relationship is starting to mend itself, and it's being mended because they're being open and honest with each other. And she said, I'm not going back. I'm not going back to doing that. She said, but I will help you as much as I can. I will help you as much as I can. And if you want to know how this turns out, you got to stay tuned, y'all. Stay tuned to what's happening, because I'm telling you, you might have a loved one that's right on the edge of entering and stepping into this lifestyle, male or female. And you need to be able to pull them back, because it'll get ugly. You don't want to have to pull them back from the ledge when they got one foot hanging off in the air and the other one is on the ledge, right, and is moving. You don't want to have to be that person to do that, because you might not grab them stern enough and strong enough to pull them back. And they might, that's why you got to tune in, they might just pull you over the ledge with them. Stay tuned, y'all. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.